Greetings, everyone. Hope all of you are having a fantastic day today. We're back at it with more Pathfinder. Let's go ahead and get into it. And right, okay, we cleared all of this side over here. Oh, the Hand of the Inheritor helped us in that fight. I didn't even realize it. Okay. What's going on here? A grotesquely fat demon speaks to a demon that's standing in front of him, his voice irritated yet slightly sycophantic. If you want to get these sweet Hepzamirahs for the 10,000 delights, call for 50,000. Just look at how delicious they are. These girls haven't yet been whipped. Your clients will be clamoring for them, and after they become too worn out, they'll make a magnificent stew. I'll give you 30 if you stop talking rubbish, Dyunk, or keep going and you can steer clear of my palace of delights. You can pleasure yourself on your own, you fat chunk of rotten meat. Do you want to get on Tavarro's bad side? Do you really want that? The Hepzamirah slaves standing nearby try to avoid looking at the angry demoness. Even in their miserable position, they retain the mark of inner purity and nobility inherent to their kind. Puffing himself up, the fat demon answers abruptly and angrily. 50,000 for these delightful, innocent creatures your shabby and worn-out demonesses can't hope to compete with. That is my final offer. Stay away from the 10,000 delights. You can have your own little morsels pleasure you from now on, you greedy, horny piece of shit. The disgustingly fleshy demon greets you with a wave, his arm encased in roll after roll of fat. Allow me to present my living wares, the finest household slaves to serve you and entertain your body and spirit, and they can satiate even the most exquisite cravings. The demon accompanies his last claim with a voluptuous, lip-smacking, looking pleased. What were you arguing about with that demoness? She wanted to buy my beautiful Hepzamirah concubines for a palace of pleasures, the 10,000 delights. Unfortunately, her common sense and good taste couldn't compete with her greed. She offered me a paltry price, next to nothing, instead of gratefully paying the full sum for these slaves. Offering 30,000 for a group of innocent, pure Hepzamirahs shipped here with the utmost care? No one has laid a single finger on them. No one has taken a single bite out of them. It's simply outrageous. Who are you? I am Dyunk, the slave trainer. When I was younger and much, much slimmer, I was a dashing raider. I spent my days abducting concubines from other planes for the harems of the most powerful lords of the abyss. My experience, however, has shown me that raising and training pleasure slaves from an early age is a much more profitable and much less risky business. That's why I now own the largest and most respectable slave farm, where I breed representatives of various races from different planes, though I haven't entirely given up the raiding. His deceptively slow movements and soft folds of flesh fail to hide the powerful muscles beneath. This demon can likely lift a wagon with 2 horses by himself. Of course, I don't display all my slaves here in the market. Those who show any magical potential stay at my palace. I train them thoroughly and turn them into true crafters of magic, and the items they create would impress even the most sophisticated spellcasters. Would you like to see for yourself? Show me the magical wares made by your slaves. And that does nothing. Let's try it again. Show me. And nothing. Alright. Well, that's just swell, because we need to pull him all the way back.
No reason
and
to
let's see, let me be the person who's up front.
A bright future awaits us.
Alright. Show me what you have for sale. Just feast your eyes on them. The most exquisite pleasure slaves raised in comfort and luxury at your service. They are well trained, neat, docile, and stand ready to become ideal servants for your manor. All of them are young and healthy in a perfect state of ripeness. The demon bursts into sickening cackling and then whispers to you confidentially. Of course, we have made sure that their tender flesh meets the expectations of even the most demanding gourmet. They have no inkling of what awaits them, so you need not worry about fears spoiling the meat, making it tough and bitter. Beautiful, athletic, and well groomed young men and women of different races smile sweetly at you. Their cheerful looks aren't marred by the slightest hint of intelligence. These slaves remind you of happy and well fed sheep grazing in the pasture. The slave's eyes widen and he starts to speak, nearly hyperventilating. Just recently, one of my slave hunting crews returned, bringing me one most beautiful gift. A group of young, fresh, pure Aasimar girls, full of mouth-watering innocence. All of them are beauties in their prime, caught with the utmost care, unwounded. Shamira will take an interest in them, I wager. Because of her origin, she loves having her fun with Aasimirs. There are countless ways one can use such a valuable acquisition, though, if you ask me, the smartest way is to treat yourself to a medium rare fillet with rich, meaty gravy. The Aasimar women look pale and scared, but even in captivity they manage to retain their dignity and refuse to let the demons savor their fear. As Dyunk continues his nauseating commentary, they raise their chins higher and do their best to maintain cold, detached expressions. Let's see. It's time for you to die, you fat sack of shit. The fat creature lifts his thick legs slightly and stomps, making the ground shake. Then the demon starts moving in a surprisingly nimble and flexible manner, his fat folds moving fluidly in ripples of flesh and skin. A trainer's work is never done. I'll make a fine slave out of you. Alright. You, that. What's this? Per round, per round. Get that pop in. Again, we still hasted? We are not hasted. Haste us up, darling. Let's get some prayer going. You still got what you need. Except we're only facing one person. Alright. Excellent. Alright, that was nice and simple. He doesn't give us anything? What a cheap bastard. Alright, save that. Huddled together and wiping the demonic blood off their faces and clothes, the slaves stare at you in terror. Did you kill Daddy Dyunk? You won't hurt us, will you? Take us to your palace. We'll obey you. We'll serve you very well. Good. Explain how to get to the Nexus. You are free. I'm going to get you out of the abyss and take you somewhere normal. Normal. The slaves exchange confused glances. Save us? Well, why would you save us? We are very happy here. Perhaps we should return to your camp first and then we can have some fun. You'll like it so much you'll never want to leave the abyss. These poor souls, raised by demon like cattle for the slaughter, you've broken their golden chains. At first, they will hate the harsh world you have delivered them into, but only because they are so naive. I, however, celebrate your compassion. The Aasimirs no longer look broken. Hope has brought the pale glow of heavenly fire to their eyes. One of the women clutches a hairpin that by some miracle went unnoticed by the guards. Resembling a gleaming stiletto, it ends in a rather vicious-looking point. With their expresses alone, the slaves send a clear message. Don't dare come near us. We stand ready to defend ourselves. Help us, kind sir. We know you are no stranger to compassion and mercy. Your aura warms our hearts like the sun of our beloved Galorian. What is the aura that you sense? We don't know, we just sense it. We are no sorceresses. We are guided by our senses alone. But as soon as you appeared, we were touched by bright, clean energies, and we knew you for a friend. We heard about something like this, a horrible demon, A monster called him the Echo, wanted to buy us and use us to find a stranger from Galorian, a stranger who is surrounded by a benevolent light wherever he goes. They failed to agree on a price, so the terrible demon left, spitting curses. What a relief. He was worse than anyone else we've seen here. Perhaps these poor, wretched souls sense my presence. The blood of heaven runs through their veins, and our kinship reveals itself. But what dire news they bring. The echo of Discari, an avatar of our sworn enemy, does not cease his attempts to get to me. Is there anything else you can tell me about the demon named the Echo? Do you know where he came from or where he went? He moves around by teleportation, like many other demons. He appeared out of nowhere, then he vanished again. What else? Before he left, he told our master something like, if you change your mind, come and bow to me in my home, and toss something to him. The master hid the thing among his belongings over there. The woman indicates the direction. Not far from here, an Asimir is waiting for you. Go find him. He'll provide you with shelter. The Asimir women look at you, their expressions piercing. You see a mixture of gratitude and awe in their eyes. Thank you, stranger. We did not expect any help in this terrible place. We will not forget it. All right. Single-use key to the Echo's lair and boots of weary steps. These boots grant its wearer blind sight with a radius of 10 feet and a plus 10 competence bonus on stealth checks. That's interesting. Boom, dum, dum. Dum, 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 dum. I don't know what's up at the top here. Clever girl, get us up there. What is this? Key to the portal has been found, but isn't enough.
Does anyone require my counsel?
Okay, goods. Alright, and it looks like that's all that's there. Okay. Actually, no, we won't go back there yet. It's a time when we have to go back that way anyway. So we'll do with it. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Abab or Rabab. Master Sarzaksis is delighted to behold Lady Hepzamirah and Lady Shamira. It is a great honor for him. How may he assist you? Hepzamirah is looking to buy some slaves. Best slaves. It's for an important job. Bark Taba, allow me to present this fine specimen. An extraordinarily belligerent, destructive, and vicious slave. He killed 7 hunters before his capture. Shut your mouth, meatball. Your breath stinks. I don't need gladiators or bodyguards. I'm looking for a pack of strong demons, ones who are not very bright and can obey orders. Her, rocks bomb. In that case, perhaps my lady would be interested in this batch of creatures recently captured in the lower city. They are all strong and quite stupid. Hepzamirah, what do you want with these puny creatures? They're small fry, fit only to be cannon fodder for the Crusaders. I would suggest... They seem fine to me. Finish the preparations, then send them to the harem of ardent dreams. And be quick about it. There we go. Alright. Unfortunately, as I recall, he's the one slave trader I can't go ahead and just deal with. I think the whole damn floor turns against you if you try to attack him. A tough-looking demon with a rough, cruel face in the hands of a seasoned warrior greets you with a grin. Looking to buy slaves, eh? Me, I just sold off the shipment I captured during the last raid. I am Kerz, captain of the Bloody Bitch. Who are you? The demon stares at you in disbelief, then bursts into laughter. Who am I? I'm Kerz, known by some as Kerz got stabbed, captain of the legendary Bloody Bitch. I'm the most famous damn pirate in the Midnight Isles. You must be a landlubber who's never set foot aboard an airship if you haven't heard of me. Do you know Myra? That nut job? Her entire crew must be wimps and weaklings if they haven't slit such a leader's throat or fettered a Ishiar's beast yet. You can't help but notice that, despite Kerz's dramatic bravado, a spark of fear gleams in his eyes. Tell me more about being a pirate. What exactly you want to know? The life of a pirate ship captain consists of 4 things: his vessel, his crew, his experience, and Pazuzu's patronage, of course. You already have wings of your own. Why do you need a flying ship? Kerz eyes you with suspicion, as if searching for signs of mockery in your face. Sure. And what do you propose I do with all the loot? Carry it on my back? What about the slaves we tuck into the cargo hold? The ship is a big flying treasure chest, and it also provides a fair amount of cover from arrows and spells that rain down on us during boardings. Tell me about your vessel. Kerz grins proudly. You'll recognize my bloody bitch right away by the huge skull decorating our prow. We secured that trophy near Vazglar, and there was a great fight for it. A few other captains want to lay their hands on it as well. Aside from the skull, I've done gun work on the bloody bitch. You can't find a better attack vessel. Her broadside can take a dragon's strike, her 3/4 sails can catch any wind, and her ballistae don't rely on lousy spears, only alchemical fire. What kind of crew do you have on board? The toughest rogues and cutthroats you could ever want. They're my hand-picked collection, each one as bad as the next. They're the most notorious rabble, the most infamous scoundrels you could ever find in the abyss. They'd sell their own mothers into slavery for a chit copper. Turn on me? Never. Nobody else could land them a better deal than I can. If they ditched me, they wouldn't make it 3 steps before taking a knife in the back. So they've got no choice but to follow me till the end. So, how many ships have you plundered? Puffing out his chest a little, the demon offers a fang, leering grin, then answers with all the cutthroat swagger he can muster. The bloody bitch is well known in the Midnight Isles, and her black sail sows terror wherever she goes. I can't count how many poor sods I've sent to Dagon. I was leading the charge, saber in hand, back in the days when Alexia was flashing her bare tits in the skies over Latverk, and when Zephoria, the old Rapscallion, ruled the city. As for loot, the treasures that have passed through my hands, and I spent them all on booze. Kerz beams with pride at this declaration. Tell me a thrilling tale. The pirate grins. You like gory stories, eh? Fine. Once we were floating by Megorg when our lookout spotted the wreckage of a ship caught in a hurricane. So we decided to search for cargo, but instead we only found a sailor who was clutching at the wreckage. We fished him out, brought him to his senses, hung him up on the mast, and questioned him properly. Our ship's cook knows how to loosen tongues with his knife. Long story short, the poor sod spilled that he was a pirate himself. His ship had set sail for one of Alir's deserted islands, where they hid part of their spoils. We smelled a windfall, so we rushed to Alir. But Alir, that place is for the faint-hearted. Predatory vines, carnivorous flowers that breathe out clouds of poisonous pollen, and walking bushes that surround you, pounce on you, and sting you with all thorns till you die. Oh, and did I mention toxic springs, or the flies that crawl into your ears when you sleep and lay their eggs inside your brain, driving you insane? All in all, the place was a nightmare, and we found ourselves right in the middle of it all. 3 times our prisoner told us where to check for the stash. Each time we dug, but all we found was dirt and bones. By the 3rd attempt, that damned island had already wiped out half the crew. We realized that asshole was playing us, so we gutted him. You know what we saw then? All his entrails were covered with whitish mold and overgrown with some spongy fungus. His heart, his gut, his brain, the gunk was everywhere. According to our ship's dock, that fungus controlled every one of the sailors' steps. He got infected on a leer, then he left the island to lure the fresh fodder for the plants. We fled as fast as we could, but for a long, long time, I couldn't believe those damn weeds got so smart they were able to trick us. You mention Pazuzu quite often. Do you worship him? Sure, I do. Only total idiots don't worship the demon lord of the sky and winged creatures. Well, at least if we're talking about aeronauts. All the storms, wind currents, and beasts who feed on those currents, they all bend to his will. That's why I bombard Lord Pazuzu with my prayers as often as I can. I have no more questions. You asked too many already, stranger. I have no reason to kill him. I have to go. May Pazuzu fill your sails with wind, stranger, but no more than mine. A lean old man with his back as stiff as a pike staff cast a piercing look at you. His gray hair and luxurious sideburns grant him an imposing and significant demeanor. Greetings. I am Count Gristoff Rolano. I have the honor of serving as adventure captain of the Pathfinder Society, heading the branch of the Society on Island Shinra and its adjacent territories. If you need the services of Pathfinders, I can be of assistance. Casting a sharp look at you, Gristoff hands you a sealed letter. I admit, your appearance here did not surprise me because I recently received this letter. It is addressed to you, and I have held it in anticipation of your arrival. The letter appears in the rough but legible handwriting of a person who doesn't write often. Greetings, Commander. I am sorry to bother you with any requests when you are busy with a difficult and dangerous mission, but my situation is extremely serious. I have found the trail of the Spinner of Nightmares. Her agent and neuroscience fell into our hands and revealed during interrogation that the last known lair of the Spinner was in Island Shinra, in a block called the 10,000 Delights. Knowing the habits of the Spinner of Nightmares, I'm inclined to believe that she used to live in the heart of a giant brothel. My poor Lori might still languish in this horrible place. I'm begging you to look for her or any traces of the Spinner. What's in it? The tone of the venture caption is cold. It's been just delivered from the crown of the world. I am not in the habit of reading letters addressed to others, and I have no idea why you would think otherwise. However, knowing Venture Captain Hillor, I would assume that it's about his persistent vendetta against a dangerous wizard called the Spinner of Nightmares. How did Hillor deliver this letter to you? Gristoff smiles with amusement. The Pathfinder Society has many agents across many different planes. They, along with a touch of magic, provide us with the most widespread and effective mail delivery service you can imagine. Take the letter. Handing you the letter, Gristoff offers a formal nod. My duty has been done. Do you have any wares from Galorian? Of course. I often have to deal with natives of our plane who are in need of items and supplies that are usual in Galorian but rare in the Abyss. I am ready to give them to anyone who finds themselves in a difficult situation, but in return, I dare hope for a humble donation for the needs of the society. Alas, there are always more slaves than the gold we must spend on redeeming them. I want to help the society by providing funds. The society has fixed charity rates, preventing corruption. I personally find this practice very wise. A donation for the prisoners of the Abyss is 50,000 gold coins. The price is high, but if it will give freedom to the unfortunate, so be it. Base profit is not worth more than a life. Give Gristoff Rolano 50,000 gold coins. Handle this gold wisely. The Count respectfully takes the money from your hands. The Pathfinder Society is grateful for your help, Commander. The unfortunate folk enslaved by demons will glorify your name throughout the Abyss. Tell me about yourself. I am a noble, a good Asmodean, and a Pathfinder who earned the honor of being sent with the most unwanted task to the most repulsive point in the world, and ready to provide you with a few good fighters. What else are you interested in? Who are you? The old man lifts his chin and carefully strokes his amazing sideburns. Gristoff Rolano of Long March, a hereditary Count of Chiliax and venture captain of the Pathfinder Society, at your service. The Pathfinder Society has long planned to open a branch of the Abyss. For obvious reasons, such an appointment didn't make anyone especially happy. However, as people of honor, we Pathfinders of my lodge couldn't let squeamishness stand in the way of duty. All of us volunteered for this mission, and then the Decemvirate chose me as the most suitable candidate. Why were you sent to the Abyss? The venture captain shrugs. To buy slaves, of course, or rather redeem slaves. The Pathfinder Society sent me to provide help to dwellers of Golarion who have been enslaved by demons. Every day, I go to the slave market with a bag of gold and I return to our shelter with a crowd of poor folks whose freedom I managed to buy. Unfortunately, there are always too many slaves and too little gold. We send the ones we saved to Golarion. Some of them are opportunists and fighters who are unlucky enough to be imprisoned. They are grateful to the society and are ready to provide services to repay us for their rescue. When people who are looking for mercenaries contact me, my charges go to serve them, and the payment for their services fills our coffers for continued redemption of slaves. What you do is merciful. I personally think that an enemy has to be fought against, not traded with, but the management of the Pathfinder Society did not heed my advice. What's it like living in the Abyss? Gristoff scans this landscape slowly with dignity and then says demurely, abominable. The Abyss is a savage place where everything that can be designed in a wrong way is. Everything is clear. If you have any other questions, please contact me, Commander. I have to go. Have a good day, Commander. Alright, so after the update, they actually added a spot on the map where you can run into the Spinner of Nightmares. And it appears that the Spinner of Nightmares is actually his daughter, or at least she claims to be. And there's actually an option to have her talk with her father, like meet up with him. But the problem is where her home is completely bugged. You can walk in, but you can't walk out. So I never did that part. So I'm not sure how this quest works if you've done that, or if you even still get the option of trying to confront her in the Abyss, just as an FYI. Gotta loot. You need to keep a constant watch or they will flee. A stern-looking demon stands before you, bristling with what seems an arsenal of weapons, and his copious scars suggest he's been hacked to pieces more than once. His face is hidden under a grotesque obsidian mask attached to his flesh by thin straps ending in hooks. The hooks are threaded into the skin and the wounds bleed profusely as if inflicted mere moments ago. The mask resembles a sinister black mollusk enveloping the face of its victim. When he speaks, the slave's voice is muffled. Greetings, stranger. I am Wirlong, legend of the Battle Bliss. Are you looking to buy some battle slaves, or do you need weapons for yourself and your servants? The young cleric resolutely stares into the slaver's eyes. My brother Trevor was abducted by a demon in a black mask. Was that you? Wirlong sniffs the air. Well, well, that face, that scent? Yes, I remember him. He was a strong fighter, a dangerous one. I made good money when I sold him. Oh, we're killing you. I didn't realize this. I didn't get this conversation before. Where is he now? To whom did you sell him? Answer me, you monster. Don't be so rude, young mortal, unless you want to meet your death sooner than you expected. I have only one buyer, the Battle Bliss. Do you want to know what became of them? Find out at the arena. In the arena? Socio looks at you, stricken. So these beasts made him. Oh, Shellan, what cruel mockery. But he is still alive, and that is all that matters. We can't waste time. We must get him out of there before it's too late. Who are you? I am Wirlong, Black Mask. I was a champion of the arena, and I fought and killed in the name of my mistress Hepzamirah. I worshipped her. I was a slave and her bodyguard. But she was flattered by the many killings dedicated to her honor and by the shouts of the crowd chanting her name. But then I had a dark revelation. I realized Hepzamirah was not worthy of my worship. She owned me, but my true mistress was the one that entered the arena with me, her hand in mine. Death. So I dedicated my next victim to her instead of Hepzamirah. My mistress was enraged. She arranged a fight in the arena when I had no hope of winning. I was hacked and cut, torn apart, choked, ground to dust by magic, and impaled on spears. But still, I did not die. My remains were stitched back together piece by piece. Death was with me that day, and I returned even more powerful. But the fights lost their appeal after that. An immortal gains no glory fighting mortals. So I left the arena, and I no longer kill by my own hand. Now I offer my gifts to death by the hands of the gladiators I trained. I take their names and their dreams, and in return, I give them weapons in the dark revelation of death. What is this mask you wear? The first champion fought wearing this mask. The final champion will fight wearing it on the day this world ceases to exist. In this mask, I was invincible, and I conquered the battle bliss and made all Latverk bow before me. I thought to pass it to Gelderfang, my apprentice, but despite his many talents in the art of killing, he loved his life far too much. He was afraid of death, too frightened to fight me and take the mask. He is not a true gladiator, not a real champion, but no one, aside from the true children of the arena, is capable of understanding this. This mask is strikingly different from the ones we're looking for to solve the riddles in the nameless runes. Still, it's unique. I would like to examine it. Honored demon, hand it over immediately for an experiment. I promise to try not to break it. No. Please. No. I'll mention your name in my encyclopedia. Over my dead body. Fine. Daniel turns to you, expectation in her eyes. Ooh, attack the demon. I'm doing this for science? Hell yes. We're not even prepared, and I'm still doing this. I am a gladiator. When I see death coming, I do not flee. I kiss her dry lips with passion. The arena is eternal, and thus we are also eternal. Kill me, and you will be able to wear this mask. The gladiators grab their weapons. Defend your master, brothers and sisters. Show them what you're worth, and the crowd will fight for the right to buy you, and the arena will bow before your might.
We are the light. They
All right.
are the darkness.
Definitely want that, but definitely gonna bring you back here. You, on the other hand, are gonna come straight up. You need that. Use some speed. You get some prayer going. No, get some holy aura going. That's okay. There we go. Oh wow, he's on the ground. That's not good. Get your ass up, boy. How long you on the ground? Get up. Excellent. Yep. Excellent. Much better. Okay. Wirlong's lifeless body lies at your feet. A bloody mist rises from his wounds. It is impossible to survive such wounds, yet you hear a voice coming from beneath the obsidian mask. Didn't I tell you I am immortal? You've killed this body, but I am still here, right in front of you. The mask grins and winks at you. It looks like an ordinary mask, but is it really? Let's conduct an experiment. Daniel carefully examines the mask on the face of the dead demon. Smells of decomposing flesh. Quite specific. Tastes like rotten meat. Ow! What are you doing, you stupid creature? Take your tongue out of my eye socket immediately. Utterly repulsive. Camellia shudders with disgust. For future reference, do not come near me, do not talk to me, and do not even breathe the same air as me. Nania wipes her mouth with her hand. Here's my verdict. This is an ordinary mask that contains an evil spirit with a tendency to mentally subjugate any person who wears it. The experiment is concluded. Thank you for your attention, everyone. Are you a mask? A living mask? So it was you I've been talking to all this time? I am the first champion of the Battle Bliss, the great warrior necromancer Wirlong. No one could say how many victories I won because they stopped keeping count. I was belligerent and bloodthirsty, and my gifts impressed death herself. So when my luck turned away from me and my life was bleeding out in the arena, death gave me a gift. She placed my spirit in this mask. So, under different names, I have claimed the champion's title again and again. Is this your body? Of course not. My mortal remains have long since turned to dust and black sludge. This body once belonged to one of my followers. A couple of decades ago, the gladiator wearing my mask perished and I took his body. My magic has kept the flesh in good condition all these years. Sadly, you destroyed this body beyond repair, and now I must find a new vessel. Ooh, good. Angel, mythic path, summon the righteous wrath of heaven and bring it down on the cursed black stone. Ooh. A spear of blinding light shoots from your hand into the black stone. The mask cracks with a bone-like crunch. The nauseating stench of decay fills your nose. Under the fragments of the mask, you see exposed raw meat. It appears that before donning the mask, the owner flayed his face. The flesh boils, the shards of black stone evaporate. After a time, all that remains of the sinister artifact is a memory. Your power has obliterated it. An amazing feeling of power inundates you. What you did was pleasing to heaven. Fantastic. It's probably crap. I'll take it anyway. Alright. Yep. Obsidian mask of the champion. Alright, nothing else to talk about. I guess it's not considered here we go. Bloodstained black mask. Yeah, it grants an impressive amount of power. Can be equipped. Interesting. We'll play with that later. Same. Alright. And that's the way out. Right. Oh, you can talk to her now. You couldn't before. The eyes of the translucent Marilith carefully observe her surroundings. It seems this is not merely an image, but a projection of the creature's consciousness, while her physical body is located somewhere far from here. Next to the Marilith fidgets a shriveled mandrake, which utters the occasional displeased shriek. Ah, a visitor from another plane. I am Ramisa, also known as Loud Skin, and I am no simple vendor, but a true artist of the slave trade. My warehouses currently stand empty, but we can always arrange for a custom order. What would you like to acquire? Perhaps your enemy's son or daughter, bound by magic and powerless in the face of anything you might wish to do to them. An attractive person who once dared reject you, the little brat who bullied you as a child. Alan Shinra is the city where all your dreams come true. The Marilith licks her lips, especially if they are dirty, bloody, and sweet dreams of possession or revenge. Camellia echoes the words of the demoness in a pensive voice. You can order anyone you want and make your bloodthirsty dreams come true. I bet many cannot resist such a temptation. It is truly terrible. Cecilia nods encouragingly at Camellia. Facing such evil can shock even a seasoned veteran, let alone a sheltered young woman such as yourself. But I promise that we will get out of this terrible place and return home. All of us. Yes, of course. Thank you for the comforting words, Oseo. I am indeed shocked by the monstrous ways of the abyss. So insane. So what I see standing here is just your projection? Certainly. It is not safe to appear in the flesh markets in person, especially for someone like me. You see, before I switched to this line of work, I was a humble gardener. I used to grow mandrakes. The Marilith pats her ugly pet on the head. It is a well-known fact that mandrakes grow if you water an ordinary weed with demon blood, or if you plant it in a demon's corpse. The allies, lovers, and masters of those I turned into fertilizer are still searching for me. Thus, I conduct my business remotely. In the same way, when I have slaves to sell, I first show their projections, and only after they're sold do I deliver them to the buyer. What do you mean by artist of the slave trade? While others trade for material gain, I do it for art. Unlike others, I am not involved in the faceless shipment of goods. Each slave who passes through my lands has a personality. Each sale is a spiritual experience. Not long ago, I sent my hunters to track down and capture a brave rebel fighting for the freedom of his people. And then I sold him, chained and dressed as a pleasure slave, to the tyrant who had enslaved his homeland. Some may call it cliche, but I call it classic. What happens if I try to kill you? Your attack causes no visible harm to the projection. The Merolith yawns theatrically. I'll outlive each and every resident of Alan Shinra. I'm leaving. Cool. I don't think you could do that before. All right. This is secure. Hey, Samoy Sykes, it's me, the Searcher. You aren't mad, right? Because I really need you to not be mad and get me out of this cage. A demon who looks like a ball of lumpy, melting flesh hovers in the air. He clenches a whip in his hand. The demon emanates an aura of confidence and authority. He snorts sternly at a skinny tiefling standing nearby, whose eyes are skillfully sewn shut with black silk threads studded with diamond chips. The demon mutters something incomprehensible to you. The tiefling speaks to you in a soft voice devoid of emotion. Master Sarzaksis welcomes you to the flesh markets, visitor from another plane. He notices right away that you are a person of means. Though he himself has no interest in doing business with you, your presence benefits the flesh markets, so Master Sarzaksis is prepared to spare you some of his time. The slave will interpret his words for you, for he loathes speaking in any language except the one used in his home world. The Searcher's hideous face is marked with desperation. Overcoming his pride, he reaches out to you with his gnarled hand, beseeching your help with this humiliating gesture. I'd like to know more about the flesh markets. Master Sarzakis finds your curiosity commendable. He is willing to outline the basic principles of the flesh markets and its. The tiefling falls silent for a while, listening carefully to the demon's croaking. Then he finds the correct word. It's hierarchy. He is also willing to explain the intricacies of the highly respected occupation of slaver. It would take a lot of effort to find a place more disgusting than this one. Even here in the abyss. In the old days, my warriors and I broke many slave collars and let countless slaves out of the abyss. What is this place? This place is called the Flesh Markets because here one can buy living and healthy flesh. Slaves for housekeeping, slaves for carnal pleasures, fighting slaves, sacrificial slaves, slaves of edible nature. Every day, hundreds of slaves are shipped here, and hundreds of customers come to buy them. Where do you get your slaves? The majority of the slaves are captive seized during raids of other planes. Master is happy to inform you that Galorian is one of our main supply channels. The Abyss itself supplies a fair share of slaves as well. Demons have no prejudice against enslaving their kin. Demonic slaves are more hard-wearing and last longer than slaves from most other planes. Who runs the flesh markets? Master has the honor of being the informal head of the flesh markets because he is the main supplier to the upper city. All the individuals who dared challenge Master's permanency renounced their false claims, became his slaves, and now proudly wear his personal insignia, carved into their faces with cold iron. With a demanding crack of the whip, he calls one of the demons standing nearby. The latter kneels hastily, obediently hides his eyes, and extends his hand palm up. He seems satisfied with this display of obedience, so he lets the demon go by whipping him lightly over the shoulders and leaving a ruby red welt on his skin. As you may have noticed, Master's authority here in the flesh markets is absolute, which is why everybody turns on you, I guess. The slave interprets his master's abrupt snort without words, giving you a short bow. Why did Hepzamirah and Shamira buy your slaves? Lady Hepzamirah is extremely secretive. No one knows what she's up to, and no one wants to ask unnecessary questions because Lady Hepzamirah has already proven she is quite powerful. Stooping around her business could be dangerous. When Lady Shamira brings Lady Hepzamirah with her and says she needs stupid but strong slaves, Master never asks questions and does not hold a grudge for the meatball nickname. Master is very wise and shows restraint. One of the demon guards clearly grows interested in the conversation and unconsciously leans forward. Master whips him across the muzzle with a lightning fast blow. The demon's head explodes like a watermelon dropped from a great height. Damn. The interpreter comments on the execution with indifference. Master would like to remind everyone that unnecessary curiosity can be very harmful for servants, especially if it is curiosity regarding the master's business. I'd like to see your slaves. Tasteling's voice is emotionless and fails to convey the arrogant notes you hear in the demon's snorting. I'm afraid Master must reject your offer. All his slaves were called to satisfy personal requests by the most esteemed upper city residents. Master is the most influential of the slaves, and he can't afford to waste his time on something as pointless as negotiating with a stranger. Who are you, demon? The demon answers with a lengthy, barking tirade as the interpreter listens carefully to every grunt. Master comes from a remote corner of the abyss extremely far from these parts. Practically no one in all Latverk has heard of the magnificent place that is Master's homeland. He would happily return there because that place is superior to all other realms of the abyss. However, Master found himself fascinated with the concept of slavery. In his homeland, the idea of owning other sentient beings does not exist. The common practice there is to kill anyone who is not like you. Master spent a lot of time studying the sophisticated art of slaveholding and has become the most respected slave trader in the whole of Latverk. Lawful. Not everyone approves of slavery on Golarion, but I respect your customs. Listening intently to the pleased hoots of his master, the tiefling adds a trifle of approval to his monotonous speech. Master is pleasantly surprised. Many of your world's inhabitants hold a strange prejudice against slavery. Master wishes you the favor of the demon lord you serve. I appreciate your kind words. Your wisdom is truly impressive. No. Say nothing. Master would like to remind you that he is an extremely busy person. Do you have any other questions for him? Address the tiefling. Are you his slave? The demon bursts into indignant gurgling. Even without understanding a single word, you quickly conclude that he is displeased. Master wishes you to cease your attempts to bypass him and communicate directly with his property. The provenance of his property is a matter of concern, a master alone, no one else. Point at the searcher. Sell me that dredge. He begins to snort, spraying saliva. He babbles quickly, which causes short, uncertain pauses in the slave's speech. This dredge, like the other demons in this shipment, is set aside for Lady Hepzamirah. Without a doubt, this lazy waste of flesh, caught today in the lower city, will never prove to be a useful worker, but he still belongs to his new mistress. She is a very influential person. Therefore, trying to deceive her would be disrespectful and dangerous, and Master would never commit such a foolish act. He resents your suggestion that he is capable of doing anything of the kind. Master is insulted and outraged. There are not many vices that can surpass the greed of demons, but pride is one of them. Imagine what tremendous power it has when the two are combined. As disgusting as it is for me to give this advice, listen to me. If this scoundrel feels insulted, offer him gold. Not as part of the deal, but rather as compensation for the insult and as recognition of his high status. Perhaps gold can compensate for the insult I've inflicted? The demon's grumbling abates slightly as a flicker of greed appears in his eyes. Master finds your idea very reasonable. He kindly agrees to accept the sum of 30,000 gold coins to atone for the insult you've inflicted. Taking into account your unfamiliarity with local customs, Master will not demand your hand or eye in recompense. For his part, Master considers it undesirable to keep this dredge in his stock, for he was the cause of your disagreement. As a gesture of reconciliation, he would like to immediately release him and drive him out so this unpleasant incident might be considered settled and forgotten. Good. Pay 30,000 gold coins. Let's leave all grievances and misunderstandings behind. The tiefling translates a satisfied snort, though it is wholly unnecessary. You understand its meaning perfectly well. Master congratulates you on a successful purchase. The dredge approaches you, glancing cautiously around. He mumbles in a quiet voice so that only you can hear his words. I have no idea why Hepzamirah needs slaves. For what I've heard, they don't live long. Becoming her property is a death sentence, no doubt about it. Meaning you saved me. So I guess the searcher appears confused. It seems this miscreation is not accustomed to being shown mercy. It simply doesn't know how to express its thanks. How were you captured? I've been wandering the lower city, searching for something. Never you mind what. I mean, that's not what I meant to say. It's a personal matter, yeah? That's the right way to put it. So I was roaming around, chatting with all and sundry when the slave hunters appeared and started chasing us. They threw those who survived in the cage and brought us here. This is a typical occurrence in the Abyss. Social dynamics, it's called. The strong enslave the weak. What will you do now? With a gloomy glance at you, the searcher gives a vague answer. I'll continue my search, I will. It won't be easy, but I'll prove to her that I'm smarter and wilier than she thinks. The dredge's expression is determined, even severe. What are you looking for? The dredge throws a suspicious glance at you. Don't ask. It's none of your business. You caused me some trouble back in the Nexus. A mournful grimace appears on the searcher's face, an expression that could easily be mistaken for embarrassment. Let's forget about that, all right? Let's just let bygones be bygones, so to speak. Of course, you hogged my magic power back in the laboratory, but you did save me. Means were square. The searcher looks at you for a while, then adds in a quiet voice, but I wouldn't have saved you. Farewell. The searcher hesitates, nervously scratching the back of his neck. He repeatedly opens his mouth to say something, but nothing comes out. Finally, he starts to mumble incoherently. You. Just be careful. That's what I'm saying. With a martyr's sigh, the searcher turns around, relieved to lose himself once again in Alan Sherman's roaring of alleyways. So, if you say that this guy is a person of wisdom and give him more compliments, he'll give you the key to the fast travel place in the upper right. So, if I wasn't on the brink of losing my powers, I might have went on ahead and did that, but I think, where does this sit at? What? I have a negative level? Oh, I do. But I also have, it says I have greater heroism. Interesting. Okay. We all three of us have negative levels. What in the hell is going on? Okay. So yeah, I don't want any chance that I'll go to chaotic good because I'm pretty sure I'll lose my powers if that's the case. So I need to stay in this range. All right, Camellia. Do your job. Oh wait. No, that shouldn't require greater restoration, should it? Nope. Okay.
Matricium Turinos. Matricium Turinos. Matricium Turinos. Matricium Turinos.
How did the pets escape it? Ah, this is why we need Ember back. Death Ward. Come on down. You gotta find like the exact perfect angle that makes this thing move. Come on. Thank you. Boom.
I can see my destination.
Oh. Come on, don't do that. Game thinks there's a door there when there's not. There we go. Excellent. Did the prisoners I freed manage to get to your house? Thank you for your mercy and generosity. I have sheltered and cared for them to the best of my ability. Being enslaved was a huge shock to these women. Despite being among friends, they still struggle with the consequences of their ordeal. The girls you freed remain silent. Their eyes hold a quiet and grim resignation that wasn't there before. The demons examine Latverk's house. Their gaze is both avaricious and imperious. Their leader, a misshapen demon whose facial features exhibit not even a passing acquaintance with symmetry, issues a commanding bark. Shut up, everyone, and get on the ground. On your stomachs, turn out your pockets. Perhaps we will settle for taking your gold and spare your lives, but you, my sweet morsel, will be leaving with us in pieces. The demon grins malevolently at Latverk. Behind the chatty demon, a huge Vavakia casts its bleary eyes over the house. A large, cloudy crystal sticks out of his chest. Several smaller crystals have broken through his skin in several places like young saplings bursting forth from the earth's embrace. A slimy fringe of thick red saliva hangs from the monster's slack jaw. He gives a surprised snort, then grunts shyly at you. I'm being threatened by a rabble who dare call themselves assassins. In Daggermark, not even a 3-year-old child will be fooled by this. It's an unbearable professional insult. Killing them is a matter of principle. Who are you? The demon with the lopsided face spits on the floor, then replies cockily, "We're the best in the Assassin Guild. Mess with us and we'll mess you up." Intimidate 40. You're not assassin, you're just common rabble. The demons lose their bravado and exchange nervous glances, taken aback by the steel in your voice. The leader of this band of misfits finally mutters in a shaky voice, "Well, maybe not assassins per se, but it sounds more intimidating. Fools shit their pants when they hear it, so we don't even have to shank them. But you, sir, are no fool, that much I can see. Folks, let's not bother the nice gentleman. We'll just run around and be on our merry way then, shall we?" The demon's tone takes on an air of groveling. By the time he's done speaking, he is practically pleading with you. Who sent you? We don't know her name. Everyone calls her Red Mask because that's what she always wears. We have no idea who or what she is beneath the mask. She sits in a bad luck all day, guzzling booze like there's no tomorrow. Who is this Red Mask? Damn if I know. Some kind of a woman. Definitely not a demon. She's one of yours, an outsider, but she's got an edge to her, and her mask is scary as anything. Get lost. I'm not going to bother killing you. Sorry for troubling you, sir. Won't happen again. The demon scurries away from you, casting frightening glances over his shoulder. Latverk folds his hands in a gesture of prayer, wailing in utter despair. I beg you, please protect me. Unless she is stopped, Red Mask will get to me and, even worse, to my wards. I do not fear death, but these girls must not be hurt again. I cannot put an end to Red Mask's depravity, but you can. I appeal to your mercy. Find her and stop her once and for all. Who is this Red Mask? I haven't the slightest idea. No doubt some villain displeased by my attempts to save my kin from slavery. Perhaps a dark soul that revels in crime and the suffering it brings. I've never met this creature before. I'll deal with her. The Hepzamirah allows himself a weak smile. You have a generous and courageous heart. I will be praying for your success. Alright. Crap to sell. Crap to sell. More crap to sell. Alright, now. There's nothing over that way. Is there a transport portal over here? I believe there is. Excellent. All right, and I think that's enough for one day. If you enjoyed this, please go ahead and leave me a like and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. I will see you all in the next video. Take care.